All right, all right. Welcome back once again. As you full well know, and if you don't, you're about to find out. This is your boy Slizwack over here at Go Here Smoke This. Freaking, I want to give a shout out to our viewers that are watching on YouTube and our viewers that are watching on Twitch. Also, our viewers that are watching in our Facebook and various groups, as well as our people on Instagram. Thank you guys for showing up. Thanks for coming. I also want to welcome our returning viewers. And if you're new here, we've got a great treat in store for you. But before we get into that, let's take a little break here. Want to kind of give it like 2 minutes or so to allow people to get in here. Want to give people a chance to kind of freaking get their joints rolled, get their medications of choice in hand, and we're gonna have a great time. Let's give it another minute here. Let's give it another minute or so. All right. Like I was saying, once again, my name is Slizwack with Go Here Smoke This. Welcome to Thursday's evening sesh, a podcast, if you will. Freaking today we've got a special treat, very special treat. We're gonna be interviewing the Jose Padron right out of Texas. But check this out. I'd like to welcome all the returning viewers. I'd like to welcome all the viewers and the listeners on all platforms. Thanks for your support. We couldn't do it without you. Before we get started, as normal, I'm gonna freaking shout out to Rochel T. Before we get started, if you're like what you see so far, go ahead and give us a like and a share. Let's identify the smoking material of the evening. Tonight, we're just gonna be smoking on some house buds because we've got to do an interview. But we are gonna be slobbing it up with some In the Pines sativa wax. Gonna put that right on top there. Hopefully that's not gonna freaking dick us down too much. But anyway, once again, like I said before, hell yeah. Shout out to Tanya Garrison. Like I said before, we're going to bring on, once again, the Jose Padron from out of Texas. Jose, welcome to the show.
How you doing today, man? You having a good night?
Oh, it's going great. Just kind of getting it going. Was in the garden a little bit earlier. Man.
That definitely clears you up, man.
It does. It's a relaxing thing. It's more of for me, it's very therapeutic in the fact that nothing matters in the garden, and you can control everything in the garden. And what I mean is there's nothing you can't take care of in your garden. With a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of expertise, there's nothing you can't turn around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can also say the same thing, man. When I get in there, it's just knowing what you can create,
It is. It's great.
Whether it be a fruit, whether it be a vegetable or herb, it's just
Jose,
amazing.
for our viewers and our listeners that aren't familiar with you, go ahead and give us a little bit about your background and how you got started in the cannabis business.
Yeah, definitely, man. I have 3 years in the CBD and hemp industry here in Texas and Dallas. I can say I have many years in the cannabis interest. I've been involved with cannabis since I was a young teenager here in the city. It's part of the culture, being an artist, just being a youngster here in the neighborhoods that I'm from, and the neighborhoods that surround the city. It's part of the culture, man. It's the Safeway drug. People like to call it the gateway drug, but out here it's about the safest thing that you can find next to alcohol, cigarettes, and all these hard drugs. They're slamming the city nowadays. A little bit about me. 3 years ago, I started in the CBD shop. I realized that there was a market in Texas. My first time actually seeing CBD in a store was in North Dallas. I had no idea I thought it was K2. I asked him, "What is this?" He said, "It's hemp." I said, how are you selling this?" He said, "It's legal." And that's when I started looking into the farm bill. I realized what was going on. And at that time I had no real plan, but I thought, man, I need to jump on this. You know, I need to get my foot in the door somewhere. And the first thing I did was look for a job at a CBD store. Found
Okay.
a store on Maple called CBD Life. They took me in, and every day my job was to learn the product. So if somebody came
Okay.
in and knew what I was talking about, and they were real big on that, real big on doing your homework every day. It was slow at first. They didn't have a lot of clientele, but after our learning so much and just kind of marketing them through Instagram, through Facebook,
Okay.
through the people that I knew. I went to high school out here, and I got in trouble as a kid because I was always in the cannabis business as a kid as well.
Hey, I
So,
hear you.
so people knew me pretty well, and that kind of helped me out. You know, unfortunately, the bad credits turned into good credits whenever I legitimized my lifestyle. So 3 years down the line, I've worked with the Weed Spot. I've been partnered with them for 2 years. I worked with the
Okay.
Dallas Hemp Company as a graphic designer, as a brand ambassador for them for about 8 months. I just recently transitioned back to the Weed Spot. It made me a
Okay.
really nice offer. And on top of that, I got the opportunity to launch my own brand, which is one of my goals.
Okay.
Um, King's Tree is that brand. And what I want to do is I want to do a luxury cannabis brand, something that Los Angeles, that many of the recreational states are already enjoying. And I think Texas deserves that as well. You know, something that's a little bit more high class, something that speaks more. What can we create? You know,
Now,
versus
how do
just
you
competition.
what do you what do you intend to bring to the to the cannabis market? And what I mean is, Texas is famous for a lot of things. You know, Texans are a certain kind of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They freaking there's no two ways about it. And I really do salute you for being able to get into the cannabis business in such a difficult place to do it.
yeah,
Uh, you know, I have a couple of buddies of mine. They're in jail right now. One of them's got at least a decade left
yeah,
for cannabis,
yeah.
and because they're not messing around.
No, they're not.
They some places they'll put you under the jail.
Yeah, yeah, they
Now,
take advantage.
for me, luckily, I got into the cannabis business in California, and literally everybody and their brothers doing it. So there
Yeah,
wasn't, a whole lot of risk. There was, literally a bountiful amount of information out about it. It wasn't like I had to do a bunch of research or anything like that. So, like I said, I salute you because if you want to be in the cannabis business in Texas, you got to make a huge effort. I can't.
well, you got to know your stuff, man. People out here, they're not quick to buy anything. You know, there's
I
too
hear
many
you.
salesmen. Hey, this is a hustle state. Period. You know, everybody out here is hungry. Um, as you know, California, their pay rate is a lot higher than ours, and they've had the blessing to learn those struggles so that they could go to another state like Texas and be able to take advantage of the opportunities. I think cannabis really helped them with that. You know, being able to open up cannabis businesses in California and being able to help these kids go from street hustlers to entrepreneurs and then taxpayers. You know, that really helped the state and also helped the new generation of curriculum when it comes to the street smarts out here in Texas. These kids, these small business owners aren't getting that opportunity. They're still
And
working to pay the rent, you know.
exactly, and especially when you're a small business, it doesn't matter really what business you're in. If you're in a small business, you could be, carpentry, contracting, whatever. If you're in a small business, hey, it's your ass on the
Yeah,
line. If you call off work, you don't make any money.
yeah,
But you add the stress of being compliant locally, not only locally, but federally
really,
and all this other nonsense. And it's rough, especially on a small business owner. And
yeah,
like you said, the key is knowing your stuff.
yeah,
I
and
There's not a whole lot of people, even in the old school high school weed business. There wasn't a lot of people out there that didn't know what they were talking about,
yeah.
because if they didn't know what they're talking about, they didn't last long.
Yeah, as a kid myself, I remember buying Kush back in 2008, man, 2006, and it had names and it looked like what it was called. It was called Darth Vader. You
Oh
looked it
yeah.
up. That's what it was. Now they give it a name, call it whatever they want. There's a problem with that. You know, we really don't know what we're getting. We don't know where it's really coming from. Half the time, those batches are batches that didn't pass inspection.
And see that's what's so crazy. Luckily, I came up in cannabis, which or in California, which is pretty much an unregulated cannabis state.
Yeah.
And what I mean is, yes, they have laws and stuff about cannabis, but I can't, as a former person that used to own a dispensary in California, every Thursday, I just put the word out, hey, your boy buying weed down at the dispensary,
Mhm.
come on down.
Mhm.
So when they just bring their packs down to the office, we sit down, I got my guy in there, we sit down, we get out our little microscope, look at it, smoke it,
Yeah.
but really we can't tell if it's got mold on it.
Yeah.
We can't tell if it's got pesticides.
Yeah.
And here in Oregon, everything that you sell at the dispensary is supposed to be tested.
Yeah, and it's important. I mean, the reason I stopped smoking corn or Reggie was because of that. I got sick off of somebody selling me a batch that was sprayed with ammonia.
And
Yeah.
and see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you can do after harvest to make your weed taste better or look better than
Mhm.
it actually is.
Yeah, the
And
curing process is a soaky process.
and that's the thing, if a guy calls you and say, yeah, my weed's ready, I just cut it down, I'm gonna bring you a pea of it, I already know it's not ready.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I already know that. And that's the thing. In Oregon, with that centralization of testing, it at least is a step in the right direction. I know stuff is going to get through, but what it is if we want to look at this as a medical product, what we have to start doing is treating it as a medical substance. So if we want to do that, the only way to treat it as a medical substance is to ensure that you can repeat the dose.
Yeah,
So when
exactly.
I
If you
send
have
it
a
in,
control.
exactly. And that's the thing. When you send it in, it tells you, hey, this has X amount of THC.
Mhm.
I just don't have some guy in the Albertsons parking lot tell me, oh, it's straight fire. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And even at that, man, I can say this, working in the cannabis industry, even a lot of the batches in the cannabis industry, I mean, yeah, they have COAs, but let's just be honest. We're one of the last states to go ahead and okay it. And a lot of other states were already growing hemp. And a lot
Yeah.
of the batches that we were getting were batches they couldn't sell, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And we thought we were getting great stuff because it was the first stuff we saw. Bubba Strands and CBG was new to us. But a year later, we realized it was just the
Just
Reggie.
some old bunk.
You
Because
know?
here's what a lot of cannabis consumers don't realize. If I got $25 and another $25 for 2 days shipping, I
Mhm.
can sell you some Burners cookies too. Because
Yeah.
I can order them bags off of daggone DHgate, Alibaba, Amazon if I want. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's where the testing comes in. And it's, don't get me wrong, like you're saying, it's not necessarily going to catch everything,
Mhm.
but it's gonna make it more difficult for you not to know what you're getting.
Yeah. And that's the
And
thing.
it's
It's a health product, man. This is not just to
exactly.
get high. I tell people all the time. It's like you buy tomatoes at the store. A guy is interested in making big, beautiful tomatoes for people to purchase, but they don't have any nutrients in them. It's just a big old bag of water.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing this weed is. It has 30% THC, no CBD, no CBN. All you're doing is overstimulating that sensor in your mind. All you're doing is overstimulating your brain. And you need to have CBN, you need to have CBD, you need to have that balance in there.
and that's true. You get that entourage effect, and that's why a lot of people, and I'm one of them. If you're and they say, hey, I need some CBD, and I recommend to them full spectrum.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the thing is, they say, well, full spectrum, even though it's full spectrum, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have THC on it. You got to look close and know what you're looking at.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you want to have that entourage effect, because when all of those types of THC and cannabinoids are grouped together, they boost each other up a little bit more than they would by themselves. And
Yeah,
a lot of people don't understand that. And I understand, if that's what you can get, I understand that. But given the choice, you want to go with something that's, more bang for your buck.
yeah,
And with the when you start stripping them out by chemical processes, people are isolating this and isolating that. And That's great. Have fun, experiment, cure cancer.
Hmm.
But the most potent that you're going to get is to a certain extent in a flower form,
Yeah.
smoked in either a joint or a bowl.
Yeah.
Now you can concentrate it and you can make wax and have all kinds of crazy THC in it, but the right dosage for, or let me make sure I'm telling you this right. The correct dosage for humans in general is in a flower form,
Yeah.
because with concentrates, a lot of times you're getting too much for the average person. I'm not saying don't do concentrates, but the thing is, if I'm a MS patient with late stage cancer, I need more THC than you do with, I hurt my finger.
Yeah, and people don't realize also cooking it. You see, whenever you heat it up, why do you think we smoke it? Because when you carbonize it is when it gets you high. So same thing when you cook it, when you bake it, you're activating the THC, THCA, and that's something that is a whole nother experience. THCA is different from regular THC. Also, another thing about it is that's the way that we've always ingested it. We've always taken it by at first as a herb. We ate roots, we ate fruits. Like we know this, it's part of our anatomy. We can act dumb all we want,
Exactly.
but facts are facts, and we know this. So simple. Why do you think everybody's trying to eat vegan now? Everybody's worried about their health. People want to go around it and they don't want to say what it is, but it's part of our diet.
Well, and I think that it has a lot to do with the flow of information. And what I mean is, there's a lot of ways for people to find out what's in the things that they're consuming.
Mhm.
And now that they know, it's kind of like when the guy from Kirby comes over and then he vacuums your mattress all crazy and all the dust and stuff comes out. You're like,
Yeah.
ah! You'd be like, hey, I'm not going to buy that machine, but can you just hit up the other side of that mattress? You know what I'm saying? You were
Um,
totally fine because you never knew they were in there.
yeah.
Now that you know all the sugars, the heavy metals, the mercuries, and the poisons that are in your food, if you can avoid it, why not?
Definitely, an experience I went through was donating plasma, man. I tried it one time, and when I realized what was in my veins, I was like, "Wow!" I was like, when I saw what was coming out of my blood, and I asked them, "What is that? What is the process of that?" They told me that's the fat that's in your arteries. That's the sugar that accumulates in your arteries. The color of your blood, it looks like that because it's dirty. And I'm like,
You're like, oh.
man, yeah, like you were like, wow, that's inside of me, and that's what we're made of, man. And we're so busy taking care of our dogs, taking care of our cars. Everything is nice and clean except ourselves, and all it is like you said, knowledge and practice. We don't want to take it because it's hard sometimes. It's time consuming, and they're putting a big price on it. The dollars for everything is getting expensive when it
Oh,
comes to
dude.
vegetables. So, hey man, grow a little garden. It's not that hard. Things grow by themselves, you
and
know.
and and that's one of our messages, is that, if you can grow a house plant, you can grow weed.
Yeah.
It doesn't take, you've got Snoop Dogg, Jim Belushi, you got all these people doing it, and that's great. They can do it.
Mhm.
But you can grow weed almost as good, and in a lot of cases better, at your house, just with, you know, all
With
the stuff that you
TLC.
need is at Home Depot, really.
Yeah,
For
man.
most places, because they're selling Fox Farm at daggone Home Depot now,
Get
which
anywhere
is
now.
crazy. It's like,
It's on a sale on Amazon.
exactly, and it's so crazy because we've got some viewers over in the Philippines, and
Awesome.
dude, it's serious business over there.
Man, I
No
bet.
drugs of any kind. Their president will kill you,
And
and
it's unfortunate, it's for people are doing that, and it's here too. I mean, what can I say, man? Look at our country. I mean,
well, see, here they won't kill you. They'll just put you in jail for 45 years.
or
So,
but they give you a prescription and you kill yourself.
exactly. And that's, oh man. And
You
that's
know?
what's so crazy. There's it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
People gained the knowledge of the toxins that they were putting in their body. They said, "Hey, I still got to relieve my pain. What
Yeah.
do I do? Well, I got this plan over here, which literally is no different than using a poultice or some type of root tea or something like that. What is the difference between cannabis and lilac or dandelion?
Yeah.
Same,
Definitely.
same.
Yeah.
You know, I find now that there's a couple different types of catnip that people are actually smoking, and there's a lot of different herbs that you can smoke that will give a similar effect to weed. I'm not a botanist. I can't name them off, but
Yeah. And
what makes
the mixtures as well. I mean, that's what we're not noticing. We're not paying attention to. There's one subject that I touch, and it's hard to touch. So as me, I grew up in the I grew up gospel music in Christian household, half devoted
okay,
Catholic, and smoking pot all the time. and,
okay,
and I never felt guilty about it at all. And for me, it was a problem. Like, why don't I feel guilty about it? But as I started to learn more about the history of cannabis and everything that it was used for, and all the people that used it, like I said, facts are facts, and
exactly, exactly,
and facts are facts. Once I found like, hey, recipes, ancient oils, oils that were used for anointing and stuff that had this product in there. Yeah, maybe they weren't using it to get high like we are, but still, it's part of a composition. And these words that we use nowadays to identify and title things are really segregating us. The words like a medical doctor, practitioner, a witch, a
yeah,
healer, all those words are the same thing. If you would have gone in ancient times, most likely your high priest was your doctor.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
in today's times, he would be a witch or a botanist.
And
It
what's so
just doesn't
crazy
make
is
sense.
they really don't know that much more, relatively, as science has progressed, they've kept up with science, but there's a lot of people that show up at the doctor where the doctor can't tell them exactly what's wrong.
Yeah. And
It's
it's because they're too focused on the science of everything that's outside of the body. These people that have been concentrated on what they feel. It's like me. I'll give you a prime example. I don't take pills. I don't like Advil. I don't drink. I don't like alcohol. I just don't like the feeling of just looseness, just not being in control. With cannabis, I'm very hyper. I used to take medication as a child for ADHD.
okay.
They put me on Adderall, Ritalin, because I was very hyperactive. So they assumed I had a problem.
Yes,
But luckily, my father took me off him as a young child. And when I use cannabis, what it does for me, it doesn't slow me down. It doesn't make me smarter. All it does is control the wave of sparks in my brain. As you know, we're made of electricity, and people don't understand. Some of us have a little extra spark in us. That's why we're so hyped. And I just happen to be one of those people. And that's one thing I love about cannabis. It doesn't take that spark from me. It doesn't dumb me down. It just gives me a pulse. That's at a certain rhythm to where I can think and organize things. Normally, if not, I'm bouncing off the walls, thinking too much,
and
overthinking.
that's that's as I'm part of the old school riddling crew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
So
that's the thing. It's not, there's so many places, and I'm sure you can sympathize. There's so many places that my parents were taken to me like, okay, something wrong with him. He's all crazy. What's the matter with him? He should
yeah,
be like sitting in a chair. So they would give me those pills and shit. And I'd be like, brr. And
yes,
the rest of my family is over 6 foot tall. I'm only 5.5 feet tall, and it's because of those pills. And now I can guarantee you, if my parents knew that those pills were going to do something to my health, they wouldn't have gave them to me.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what a lot of people are finding out now. It's that now that they know, their decision is not to should I do that? It's what is the better alternative?
yeah,
What is the
definitely,
alternative that's not going to harm me in the long term? And
definitely.
that's why a lot of people, I feel like, are turning to cannabis, because with the flow of information, learning that, pharmaceuticals, opioids in particular, are going to harm you in the long term. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that have taken or are taking opioids for long term. And they'll tell you when you start taking them that uh your organs are, it's going to knock about 5 to 10 years off of your organs. So they want you to consider that if you're an organ donor. So
Man.
yeah, it's crazy that they're just going to tell you up front, like, hey, if you're an organ donor, I just want to let you know your shit's going to be wore out a little bit more because you're taking these pills. Is that
Well,
cool? And it's like,
and it's crazy that we accept it. You know, there's I could touch on big things, man. Put it like this: 5 years ago, I read on the Wall Street Journal. You know, scientists got together. They decided to inject a cancer cell with pure THC, see what it does. The biggest headline that day was THC makes cancer cell eat itself. Right
correct.
after that, the FDA sent out a threat on the Wall Street Journal saying that any doctor, any pharmaceutical practitioner claiming that cannabis was a cure for any type of ailment was going to lose his license. That would be devastating for the pharmaceutical company. They said it plain out. They had
Yes.
no shame about it. And when they say things like that, it's like saying basically, we have an answer. We're not going to give it to you. Screw you, you know.
And,
And
and that,
we take that. We're like, okay, you know.
and that's what it is. And a lot of people think just because that guy has a white coat on, with his little name on there, and because some of them aren't even MDs, they think because this guy has a white coat on and he said you need to do this. All right, give me those pills. Hey, they may kill you. You may have some anal leakage, but you need to take those pills.
Well, that's what people don't understand, man. When you take a composition of metals and herbs and you put them together, and then you put them inside somebody, that's an experiment, you know. And
Yes,
and most of the time, those pills that you're taking, they're not really curing you. All they're doing is making your body defend itself because your body's under attack, and they trick your body. So now your body releases chemicals that help relieve pain. That's really what they do with Advil. That's what they do with aspirin. You know, they attack your liver, and your liver releases a chemical to defend itself. That's what relieves the pain. People need to know these things. Give them a different alternative, like you
and
said. There's a lot of things they can use, man.
it's so crazy because I used to be in the military for many years. I've had enough stuff in my blood where you would think that my blood would be the blood to give to people. It's inoculated against all the stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I still can't give. I've been out of the military since 2006.
Okay.
I still cannot give blood because my blood is possibly toxic to other blood.
Wow.
And that's I just because people tell you that it's good for you does
Hmm.
not mean that they have your best interest in
Yeah,
mind.
definitely.
And
Man, I
as
feel bad for the parents. They don't know, man. They don't know any better.
oh, I feel bad, but I feel like more and more people are waking up. More and more people are understanding that, hey, there's something wrong with me. And as they've researched into it and they're finding out that it's the things that they're putting in their body and they're changing them. They're finding, oh, I feel better. So science tells me that if I stop doing that, I will feel better. And they're finding that in that bid to feel better, THC is one of the things, whether it be in edible form, ointment, topical form, or whatever. They're finding there's so many uses for this thing that doesn't have very many side effects. Yeah, there are some people that are allergic, but very few and far between. And literally, it's not going to mess you up. It's not going to mess up your heart. It's not going to cause you to grow a mustache. It's not going to, it's weird.
No, man, look at me. I'm 30 years old. Hey, man, God's been good. You know, the herbs been keeping me healthy. I was blessed not to get sick during the beginning of the pandemic. So far, I've been healthy. Know a lot of people have gotten it, and there's a lot of things that we need to read into as far as cannabis and coronavirus, how it helps. Scientists were talking about it. People aren't talking about it. People are just acting like it's nothing. And studies have been made, man. This is a big deal. If it
It,
can help
it
prevent
is.
coronavirus, why can't we have it? It's questions we should be demanding answers to.
Well, I don't want to get into the coronavirus because it's all crazy, but they're
You know,
telling me they got this coronavirus vaccine ready, but nobody can tell me anything about weed. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
man. It's
Record
the
time.
same thing, man. They did the study with pure CBD, and then they came out with the headline: CBD discontinues coronavirus.
And
They're saying it plain out, and we're not doing anything about it. And we can't claim an injustice if we as people don't do anything about it. And
I
that's the whole
100% agree.
thing. That's the whole thing about the system, that we're not understanding that if the government tells you, "Hey, we have answers, but we are not going to give it to you because it's not beneficial to us," and we as people say, "Okay, that's fine. We'll carry on about our day and not do anything about it." We can't claim an injustice to that because we're
Exactly.
accepting it. So people need to be aware that just like when they wanted to make Delta 8 illegal, that would have hurt a lot of people, man. When I was working for the Dallas Hemp Company, had people with rheumatoid arthritis that couldn't find any relief, and thanks to Delta 8, they were finally able to sleep and take away the pain. This would have been devastating for those people, but those people were writing letters to Dan Patrick, telling them,
Okay.
no, you can't make this illegal. Things like that we can do, that there's numbers we can call, there's places we can write, there's motions that we can write. We all need to be educated on this type of curriculum. It's a different ball game, man. The hustle's stepping up,
It is.
if you want to get in this game, this is not a game for kids.
And that's the thing. What a lot of people don't realize is this is not a rap music video.
Exactly.
For lack of a better term, the weed business is not all about Cristal on bitches' titties. Because the thing is, first off, if you wanted to just make money, let's be real. If you wanted to just make money, if I had 1 pound of cocaine and 1 pound of weed, the addition and the subtraction tells me I could take that pound of cocaine and make way more than I could with that pound of marijuana. And there's so many people out there that are talking about, I'm in it for the money. Well, I got news for them, and you probably understand this already. In the beginning, there's not much money to be had. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And if you want to get to the money, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's
And
it's
people are
just
spending money, man. And people
and
are
that's the
spending money just to get their feet wet, you know?
yeah. It,
And unfortunately, after they spend $1 million, they realize, hey, there's a lot more to just growing this stuff. There's politics. There's people that are begging for RSO, that have cancer, people that are dying.
They
And
can't cut through the politics. They can't cut through the red tape to get the shit that they need.
yeah, man.
And
Some of these
that's
people
what
got
makes
money. Some of these people are pissed off because they got
that,
money too.
that's the thing. You got this rich guy, he's dying. He's willing to pay whatever you want. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But he can't get it because some guy said, oh, well, we got to do more testing. I got to have my guy come out there. And it's crazy
And what do you
because
do
it's
when you
not
find out that guy's your homeboy and he has
exactly.
control, some type of control?
It's and it's people realizing that, well, let me put it this way. My favorite type of person is the person that has absolutely no use for cannabis,
Yeah.
but they still don't want to stop people who have a use for it from getting it.
Yeah.
Because those are the people, even though they don't have a dog in the fight, they're like, hey, if this helps you, I want you to be able to get it. It doesn't matter what I do, but if you take this and you feel like it helps you, I want you to be able to get it.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are near and dear to my heart, because they can literally say, hey, don't get it. It doesn't matter to them, but they want you to have the thing that you need
Yeah, definitely.
regardless. And that's the kind of voter that the cannabis industry needs more of.
Yeah.
It's just like alcohol. You know what? There's people that don't drink alcohol. They're not lobbying for them to stop selling beer. You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't think
Yeah.
it's good for your health, but I'm not going around slapping cigarettes out of people's mouths either.
Yeah.
So And it's not there. People try to say, well, we're trying to protect you. What about the children? Check this out.
No, it's totally the opposite, and that's the
Exactly.
problem here. That's the
It's
problem.
all money driven.
It's a big
And
slap in the face, man. I have
yes,
arthritis. I have a screw in my wrist, and I refuse to take opiates.
it,
Um,
it,
I
it's a
don't like.
bad road to go down.
I don't like the way it make me feel. I don't like being. I've tried
It's out of
Vicodin and
control.
Voltaren.
Absolutely.
Had it prescribed
Anybody
to me.
that's I've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of people that are off of opiates,
Mhm.
and almost every one of them says the same thing. I hurt my back. I freaking twisted my ankle. I messed up my shoulder, and then the doctor was said, "Hey, you got to take these pills." So he's prescribing these pills to me 3, 4 times a day, dude. If you go from not taking any pills to taking a pill 3 to 4 times a day, if that's not a recipe for disaster, I don't know what is.
Hey man, there's people that have been taking these pills for years and still have no relief, honestly. And they lie to themselves. They take 3 Advils and they say, "Oh yeah, it takes away the pain," and they know it's not taking away the
Well,
pain.
that's the thing. It doesn't take, and that's the thing. The pills, and even with marijuana, it's not that marijuana is not a cure all. Okay, there are some times where marijuana is just masking the pain. It's
Yeah,
relieving the pain, but at the end of the day, it's not shortening your lifespan. Okay, marijuana is not physically addictive. You might say, "Oh, I need some," and that's cool
mhm.
because if you don't get it, you're not going to have the shakes. You're not
Yeah,
going to be throwing up
yeah,
because, and the reason that happens is because marijuana is organic. It is set up for your body to deal with it.
yeah.
Your body produces very tiny amounts of THC. The reason, well, I used to give the urinalysis in the military, and the reason THC stays in your system the longest is because it's organic. The reason cocaine, heroin, crystal meth doesn't stay in your system is because of all the poisons.
The
And
body
that's your
rejects it. Yeah,
exactly. Your body is like, get it out of me. Whereas cannabis is organic. Oh, for the people who are just popping in, this is the Jose Patron
they are doing it today.
from King's Tree out in Dallas. He's doing great and big things down there. He's now working with, I believe, the Weed Spot again.
Shout out to a weed spot, man.
Yes.
Y'all make sure y'all check us out on Bishop Arts District right here in Dallas in the
Okay.
great town of Oak Cliff, man. Love the neighborhood. King Street is my personal brand that we're launching, luxury cannabis cigars. Just a little bit of, we call it the legacy, the luxury of our legacy. And that's the beauty about it. You get to choose who you want to be. You get to choose who your family is as you build your empire. And that's what we want to do. We want to teach these children, teach the youth how they can build their empire, man. Get kids out of the streets, get them out of the drug trade, and get them into the industry. So if you know any kids out there selling weed, man, on these blocks, going to jail, please guide them to us, and we'll help them get to the CBD store when they're a proper age, 18 or older. It doesn't matter if they want to do photography, artwork, if they want to learn to hustle. Hey, man, it's here for everybody.
Well, and that's the thing. Just like any other business, once a weed business, a weed corporation is just like any other business. They got mail rooms, they got daggone IT guys. When we had a dispensary in California, we had a dude come in and do our computers. We had some advertising dudes. So all that stuff is still net needed in the weed business. And people don't realize that, as a former dispensary owner, I still needed an accountant. I needed a lawyer. I needed all that shit, just like any other business. And there's gonna be a shortage if
Some
people
of that
don't
into the
jump on
phones.
board.
Got that
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Somebody got to answer the phone. Somebody got to clean the toilet. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? The last one that we had a cigarette store with a dispensary in the back, and hey, at the end there, we had a cleaning lady. She come a couple times a week. Bam, bam.
Hey, it becomes a family. You can't just trust anybody just to go in there and
Exactly,
clean.
because for me, it allows because just like I'm sure most of the people in the weed business at this particular point, I've got a checkered past just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I could have taken that misspent energy and freaking done something positive if I would have had the opportunity. Because the one, okay, you know those guys that be talking yay about being in the project hallway all day. You know those guys. There's
Yeah.
one thing that puts a damper on your hustle is the fact that it's illegal. You know what I'm saying? You got to have guns. You got to have two dudes with you when you got the duffel bag and all this, that, and the other thing. If you could be a hustler and it be legal, oh man, I would have loved that opportunity to come and work at the weed shop, the CBD shop. And I think, just like you're saying, we got to get those kids that are out there, because they're just like any other kid. They're getting ready to make a decision.
Yep.
They're going to go down a road. Well, I put it like this: they're going to sell the weed. They're going to sell the weed regardless. They
And
can
why
do it.
wouldn't they? I mean, everybody else is doing it illegally.
Exactly. They see the shit on TV. Like, look at that. That's fucking Snoop Dogg over there. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's our responsibility, man, and that's the thing. I'm an OG in my neighborhood. You know, I'm all going on 30 years old. I've done a little bit. I'm from Oak Cliff. I'm from Beckley and Sainer. So if anybody's from Oak Cliff, from Dallas area, they know about Beckley and Sainer. From that area is predominantly black mixed with Mexican, and you know, it's the hood.
Hey.
You know, but there you learn to hustle, to work. I've had about 6 jobs in 1 year because it's just, I would learn one thing, and once I learned it, I wanted to learn something else, and I wanted to learn something else, and it was never enough just to be stuck on one thing.
I hear you.
Thanks to that, I'm now a man of many trades. That helps me in what I want to do now for my own business. If I want to open up a store tomorrow, hey, I know how to do construction. I know how to do artwork.
And see, that's the thing. Get out there, do it. And it's so crazy because, yeah, you didn't have the luxury to say, you know what, I don't want to do that. It was hard times back then, but now, 10 years, 20, 15 years later, you're reaping the benefits of all that hard work that you put in. You know construction, and physically you know how to work. Because as you know, it's a lot of jokers out there that don't know how to work. You know what I'm saying? They want to do it, but they can't do it.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you don't want to do it. I get it. You know, I also hustled, man, and I got myself in trouble for the same reason, because I got tired of working. I felt like, hey, man, I don't want to be a slave, but you know, that mentality also makes you become a poor victim, man, of a lie. If you don't want to work, you got to learn how to teach people to work so they can work for you.
Exactly.
And if you can be a great supervisor, that pays too. You know,
exactly. You know what I'm
so
saying?
there's a position for everybody, man. You just we gotta put people on game and stop trying to sell the game. You know,
I hear you, and that's the thing. I learned the importance of working hard back in the hood. The people that freaking, for lack of a better term, sold the most drugs had the most money. That's, you know what I'm saying, and you know, the guy that sells crack, if he doesn't sell enough crack in a day, they're not just going to be like, it's cool, come back tomorrow, we'll give you the same money. He's going to get shot in the face. I don't know about your neighborhood, but to the face.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. These kids are still following that, you know, and they think it's cool. That's the problem. Back then, guys actually had homes where they didn't have fathers, where mom was maybe on drugs, where, you know, where there was a lot of kids in the household. And we understand the 90s. I'm a 91 baby, so you know, the 90s going on to 2000, you know, there's a lot of gunfire in our city. And now Dallas is kind of on the map due to the rap scene and due to a lot of the violence as well, unfortunately. And that's something that to me is sad, because the violence has always been here, man. We've always been on the map. But, you know, that's not something to be proud of. You know, that's something that, like I said, as OGs out here, as the guys that are the growers, the guys that are we're the gangsters, or we're the hustlers, or we're the guys with the most money, we're examples. So we can take control. You know, we can take control of these youths. We can take control of these boys and girls clubs. We can go over and we can teach them, hey, look, this is what I used to be and this is what I am now. And these places, they accept us. They want us to go in there and teach the youth. They want us to go in there and tell them the truth, because a lot of people aren't doing it. The guys that are getting paid to do it aren't doing it. You know, the
Exactly.
teachers are tired of doing their job because all they can do is get criticized, and the curriculum they're giving them is trash.
And
You know,
that's why it's up to the OGs like us with these skills that have already committed these felonies to show people, hey, committing felonies isn't cool. You can do almost the same thing and you can have a legit business
yeah,
to pass on to your kids in 50 years. You know what I'm saying? So in 50 years, instead of coming visit me in jail while I do a 100-year bid for fucking 100 pounds of whatever, how about I hand this business over to you that's full and legal and you can support your family?
yeah, definitely,
And I definitely, just like you, I see that as one of the responsibilities of the older generation, the people that have gotten the felonies, the people that have had to have those records expunged. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
our job to go ahead and say, hey, you got two choices. You can make bad decisions like I did, or you can make good decisions and be better than me.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's one of those things that we got to pass on.
yeah,
I know we've talked about a lot of stuff. We didn't really follow the script, but it was great to get this stuff out. If you could real quick tell me in a few sentences what you have in store for Texas with Kingstree.
Oh man, the biggest thing that I have is a collaboration called the Canna Family Network. What I'm trying to do is I want to collaborate with all the cannabis companies and cannabis businesses that are like-minded, that want to put forth workshops for children and be an example to the city on how to do this the right way. That goes from restaurants to new businesses, new CBD businesses that are already going to come out, youngsters that are coming out with their brands, clothing, anything that has to do with cannabis culture, anything that we can implement into the cannabis culture. If you have a business, if you want to be a part of this network, what we're doing is educating people, man. And we're going to throw events, we're going to do workshops. When the money comes, it's going to be invested into what we believe needs to be invested into. And
Okay.
that's the people.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you
Who,
right now, GHST is on board. We'll be getting in touch with you this coming week just to know how we can, if there's anything that we can do to freaking get behind you, help build some momentum. Man,
man, this right here is big for me, man. I'm grateful, and this is a start. What we need to do is go ahead and speak up. And I've been quiet for a long time, but I'm doing it for my people. I'm doing it for everybody. When I say my people, I mean everybody. We're all humans, and we all deserve a chance to hustle, to live. To be able to be healthy. And there's certain things we shouldn't have to worry about, man.
I totally agree. Last thing, we got our 5 guest questions.
Definitely,
Real
I
quick,
want to know
and
about me.
it just lets the people know a little bit about you. Kind
Oh
of be like,
man,
yeah,
I
my
love to
man
share it.
Jose. Okay. First question: what's the last book you read?
Ooh, the last book I read. Well, I'm still reading the book that somebody sent me. So, but I'm gonna say the last one I fully read was the Game of Thrones,
Okay.
the Game of Thrones series.
Kick ass, kick
Had
ass.
to, man. I didn't even
Okay.
watch the whole series. I read all the books though.
Because some of that stuff they can't do on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's just the detail. I'm an artist, man. I love the detail.
What's your favorite season out of the year?
Honestly, Narcos Mexico.
No. Your favorite season, like
Oh,
spring, summer,
season.
winter, fall.
Oh no, I'm gonna say summer.
Okay.
I need the
Okay.
sunlight, man. It's everything grows.
Gotta. Concentrates or flour?
Flower. I love flower. It's just to me. I love it, man. The terps, tasting it. I can eat it. I can season my meat with it, and that's something we'll
It's
touch on next time.
okay. And last question for you, in your personal opinion, what's the best invention in the marijuana business so far?
Hmm. The rosin press.
You know what? I can agree with that. We got a winner here, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
rosin press. Yeah, it's just it's so much cleaner. No chemicals.
And for me, anybody can do it as long
Yeah.
as you got a little electricity. You don't need because don't get me wrong, blasting with CO2 and propane and all this, dude, you need a whole science degree to
It's
do all that.
dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yes. And with the rosin press, if I can go out to my garden, I can get a nug that I know where it came from. I know that there hasn't been any pesticides. I know nobody sprayed ammonia on it. I can take it over to my press and make my own concentrates and make them, as clean as I want.
It's so easy. Grandma could do it, man.
And it's I love it. Anyway, I want to thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. We've talked about so much. We've covered so much. I want you to know that Go Here Smoke This supports what you're doing. We're 100% behind it because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how legal marijuana is. Yeah. What matters is if what we, our community, are doing for the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's all right. What I have coming, man, is gonna match that California market. So y'all just wait.
And you know what? And that's the thing. To be honest with you, I think that the California market, to a certain extent, is motherfuckers gotten lazy. They're like, oh, we're in California. And the thing is, they're not keeping up. And places like Texas, Michigan, New Mexico, they're getting ready to kick them straight in the balls because they're hitting it hard. They're trying to figure out what's the next cannabis extraction that we can come up with. How can we make a better hash? How can we grow a better plant?
And when you start breaking it, the big thing you said is that the effects, man. We don't understand what terpenes can do yet. We don't understand what. I mean, think about it when you bite into a peach. It's not enough for it to just be a peach. It has to have a flavor. It has to have a color. It has to have a texture, and then it has to have an after flavor. Yes. You don't just bite the peach and you get one flavor. After you swallow it, you still have an after flavor. Exactly. And then it settles, and then you have to have a feeling, man. It has to make you feel good. It digests as well. That's a whole entourage effect.
A lot of people don't understand that what they're tasting is the terpenes.
Yeah, man.
It's not just in weed, it's in all the plants.
Yeah. Hey, we could take away one stigma, and that'll be big for humanity, man. Then we can start touching on cilantro, we can start touching on oregano, so many other things.
Oh yeah. Again, we're going to get out of here, Jose. I thank you so much for friggin' allowing us to have you on our program. We will definitely have you back if you would like to be back. And, man, like I said, look to hear from us in the coming week. And we'll see what we can do, get in contact with you. And whatever link you share to help us support you, we're going to share it with our people so they can also support you and doing your thing out there. And one of the hardest places to do it. Freaking, I salute you, my man.
Hey, man, we salute you, man. I seen your videos. I know you're out there doing work. You're teaching people, and thank you.
We're just trying to pass the word along. Thank you, Jose. We will see you next time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, my man. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you freaking stopping by. This has been your boy Slizwack from Go Here Smoke This. I thank you for stopping by, and we're going to round it up. Thank you for stopping by. It's been a great interview. This interview will be up on our YouTube in the next couple of days. We'll probably cut out some of the pieces, chop it down, make it real nice. But again, thank you for stopping by. This has been your boy Slizwack from Go Here Smoke This. And as always, you should grow.